Dear students, in today's class, I would like to discuss the topic the study of humanities and the way it is different from the study of social and natural science. We will look at some important points regarding humanities and how humanities differ from other disciplines such as social science and natural science. We can say that humanities deal with human condition in general. It includes all branches of knowledge which explore the process of creative interventions that humans make in imaginatively interpreting and expressing the meanings of their lived-in experience. There are some important branches that we often consider under humanities. They include the classics, the language and literature, philosophy, visual and performing arts, humanities, history. All these are branches that we usually regard as humanities disciplines. Now, let me talk about some of the differences that we find when we compare humanities with science or social science. Number one, take a look at the method. What exactly the method that we use in humanities? We find that humanities employ imaginative and speculative methods. When we look at natural science or social science, we find that they use empirical methods. We have already seen that in science there are different steps involved for any inquiry. We have already learned that, for example, gathering of data in a methodical manner, analysis of the data, determination of relationship between facts and formulation of causal explanation. So scientific studies always go for these procedures. But in humanities, we use imaginative and creative methods. For example, when a writer writes a literary work, you find that he uses his imagination to interpret life. When you look at a painter, he uses his imagination and creativity to interpret life. When a historian tries to understand and explore his fields, again, you find that there is some speculation involved in it. When he tries to understand the past, there are certain speculation that comes in. So the first point, the methodology that we use in humanities and social science, natural and social science. Here in humanities, we employ imaginative and creative method. This is a very important aspect. Whereas in science or social science, they go for empirical methods that they use for observation and experiments. This is the first important difference that you need to understand. Now, number two, what is the emphasis of humanities? This also you have to be very clearly understand. Humanities emphasize the exchange and analysis and exchange of ideas. Unlike natural science or social science, where you find causal explanations, in humanities, here what we are doing is we try to interpret life to make a sense of the lived-in experience of human beings. So the emphasis here is to analyze and create ideas. Share your thoughts, share your ideas So this is something different from the aims of natural and social science. In social science or natural science, they try to find out some cause and effect relationship about certain phenomena. But such an inquiry never takes place in humanities. The aim is entirely different here. In humanities, as I said, we emphasize the exchange of ideas, the exploration of ideas, the exchange of ideas. So we are trying to interpret life. We are trying to understand the lived-in experience of human beings. So the aim is also different. Number two. Number three, since the aims are different, you can find the approach. What we arrive at in humanities is also different when you compare it with natural and social science. They try, that means natural science and social science, try to arrive at absolute truth. That is one of the aims of natural science. But in humanities, we don't claim to come up with an absolute truth. So the scientist's preoccupation of finding the truth is not seen in humanities. We deal with particular instances, particulars. We know that when you study a particular culture, the interpretation that you come up with may not be applicable globally. So we don't go for universal application of the knowledge that we produce in humanities. What I'm trying to say here, we are not trying to arrive at absolute truth. This is also very important. Number four, this is another important aspect of humanities. They are self-reflexive in nature. What do you mean by that? For example, if you are a student of humanities, when you deal with literature, when you study and read literature, that should make you think about the discipline. Not just thinking, but that will transform you as a person. That's one of the greatest advantages of studying humanities. You know, when you explore the ways in which people lived in the past, what exactly that you are trying to gain? You try to understand the best possible ways to live in this world. Let me give you some examples. If you are a chemistry student, a student of chemistry, you study about water, you will be able to tell us the properties of water. But if you are a humanities students, when you write or read a particular work of literature, for example, there is a wonderful novel by Sarah Joseph, Adi, deals with the life that is centered around water. So you understand the importance of protecting water, how life becomes meaningful when you preserve water. What I'm saying is, a chemistry student need not worry about these aspects. His studies may not force him to think about this aspect in detail. It doesn't mean that when you engage in science, you don't have any concerns about life. That is not what I'm saying. But humanities demand that self-reflexivity from your side. You have to think about it. At the end of the day, if you are a humanities student, you will become a good human being. Why? Because we want to make things, the life, a better one for the entire humanity. That is how we approach our studies.